Hey everyone, welcome back to Wentworth Life and welcome to another Prisoner review. Now in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at Prisoner Cell Block H, episode 16, The Setup. And this is the episode where we lose two long-term characters, Mum and Marilyn. But before we get to that, let's start with Doreen and Frankie, who ended up entering into an old lady's home. So this old lady, her name is Miss McBride, and she appears to be absolutely clueless to who Frankie and Doreen really are. Now Miss McBride, she tells them both that she has money hidden away in the house because she doesn't really trust banks. While Doreen is making them all a cup of tea, Frankie gets ready to attack Miss McBride, but Doreen comes in and stops her without Miss McBride knowing. Now Miss McBride, she then asks Doreen and Frankie if it's possible that they can both stay with her for a while, like literally stay and live with her. And it's actually really quite sad when you think about it, because you can tell that Miss McBride, she is a lonely old lady who has no visitors. Just imagine that for a moment. You know, you're in the prime of your life and you have no visitors, not even your family bothers coming to visit you. That is just terribly sad, and it's actually a little bit of a fear of mine as I get older. So Frankie and Doreen, they keep up playing the nuns for the whole episode, and then Doreen decides that she wants to tell Miss McBride who they really are. She doesn't want to lie anymore. So just as she's about to do it, Miss McBride says that there's no need. She already knows who they both are, and she still doesn't care. She's happy for them both to stay with her as long as they want. Oh, it's just so nice. It really is. I did find it funny though when Miss McBride, she says to Frankie, please take out that iron bar. It must be so uncomfortable. It's such a sweet scene, and I'm really glad that Miss McBride is happy for them to stay with her. In a way, the three of them are pretty much looking after each other now, and let's face it, the cops will never think of looking for them there. Vera was being extra bitchy in this episode, and she ended up pushing, B and the women too far. It started off when Vera pretty much calls Karen a common slut in the corridor. Karen even turns around, and for a moment there I thought Karen was actually going to floor Vera. I was like, go on Karen. Later on in the rec room, Vera puts Karen and Marilyn on cleaning duties for absolutely no reason. She's just being a bitch. Vera's also a pain in the ass during a visit with Eddie, so B has now had enough, and she plans to do something once and for all to Vera with the help of Monica and Lizzie. Now I absolutely love what they do to Vera in this episode. So first thing in the morning, Monica, she pretends that she, her appendix is burst, and Vera comes in and she orders her to get up. Lizzie then runs off to get Mrs. Jackson, and B then closes the door, and her and Monica, they corner Vera in the cell, and B tells Vera that she's gone too far. When Lizzie gets to Meg, she tells her that Vera has gone nuts and that she's bashing Monica up. So Meg runs to the cell, and then B, she ends up smacking Monica down onto the bed and tells Meg that it was Vera. Vera has gone mad, she's gone crazy. I think what didn't help the situation is when Monica is down for the count, Vera then jumps up and she's standing over Monica just as Meg arrives, and it looks really bad on Vera's part. When Vera is questioned by Erica, she is suspended until everything can be investigated, and this actually really upsets Vera to the point where she breaks down crying in front of Meg, and she thinks that Meg has gone against her. I mean, Erica, she does say in this episode that she thinks that, Vera has been set up by the women, but I suppose that, there are protocols for this kind of thing. It was only a matter of time before Vera pushed the women too far. I think maybe since the Graham incident, Vera has just been worse than ever. There was a bit of an argument between Marilyn and Eddie when B was trying to get Monica to speak to Eddie during a visit, and then, asking him and Marilyn to look after the milk bar shop, but Eddie thought that apparently, it was the women just playing a joke on him. Why he thought that, I have no idea, but he ended up losing his rag, and I just gotta say, Eddie is really doing my head in this particular episode. I mean, Monica, she was offering him such a good, genuine deal, and he literally behaved like a child. Luckily, this was all sorted out by the end of the episode, and Monica, she did agree to let Marilyn and Eddie run the shop for her when, Marilyn gets out, but with a little bit of persuasion from B. Jean Vernon, she found Mum and Judith Ann a little flat, so it's all systems go well for both Mum and Marilyn. By the end of the episode, they are both released, and this time, let's hope it's, a happy ending for both of them. Now, I did used to like Marilyn's character, but I do feel her character definitely ran, its course at this stage in the show. There wasn't really much more that they could do with her, and Eddie was getting super annoying at this stage. I do love Mum, and I'm really sad to see her go, but I'm happy that she's getting some sort of happy ending. Now, I do know that Mum will make a few appearances in various storylines over the next 200 episodes or so, but it is goodbye for now. As for Marilyn, this is the last time we ever get to see her character. Steve Wilson was really doing my head in this episode, especially the scenes between him and Jean Vernon. Like, oh my god, could they have paired up any two characters that I hate anymore? It's quite clear that the writers are setting Jean and Steve up for romance. It's the classic storyline where two characters, when they first meet, that they clash or they come to blows, only for them to, to eventually fall in love as episodes go on. I can see it happening. Now, Steve came back to get some more information with Karen and, her husband, and then Jean then asks him if he could see Lynn Warner, and once again, Lynn is very low in this episode. When Steve does see Lynn, he makes her feel even worse. He basically tells her that she doesn't really have a leg to stand on with this robbery, and that he will not be taking on the case, and says that legal aid will take care of her, which is just a kick in the teeth. This really upsets Lynn to the point where she breaks a mirror in her cell and she ends up slashing her wrists, and Meg and Karen, they end up finding Lynn at the very end of the episode. Oh god, will Lynn be okay? Oh, poor Lynn. She really has been through a lot. This was a good episode. I felt this episode was all about change. I mean, some chapters were closing and some new ones have been opening. We're at that stage now where Prisoner has been extended, from its original 16-part showing, and, it then turns into this very long TV drama, as we all know and love. My favorite part of this episode has to be the moment where Miss McBride tells Doreen and Frankie that she knows who they both were all along. I thought it was clever, and I didn't see it coming the first time I watched this. My least favorite moment has to be any scene with Steve Wilson. I find him really annoying. I find his character really obnoxious due to his status in the world, and I just don't like him, full stop. But that's all of my thoughts. Now I want to hear some of yours. Do you guys like Steve Wilson's character? If you do, then let me know in the comments box below, and anything else that you want to talk about from this episode. Right then, so we have come to the end of this episode review, but never mind, there will be more next weekend, so fear not. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button for all of my future updates. Make sure you have a lovely, beautiful weekend, you beautiful people, and I will see you all again very, very soon.